What's up, YouTube, and what's up, Instagram? Welcome to today's episode on the Fast and Furious Fridays on Sterling on Cinemas. That's Cinemas with an S. And today I'll be giving you my review on Tokyo Drift. You could guess by the orange. But if you are new to this video, keep on sharing, keep on liking, keep on subscribing, so you can keep on telling people about my channel and how I'm getting up there. And I can tell this is pretty evident from all them views on the last two Fast and Furious movies. I can see it coming. Keep on doing your part to help me become popular. And the same thing if you're on Instagram. It may not be as beneficial, but I would still love it if you guys were to follow my page and share me to your stories. Let's get to it. Sean Boswell, played by Lucas Black, always feels like an outsider, but he defines himself through his victories as a street racer. His hobby makes him an unpopular guy with the authorities, so he goes to live with his father in Japan. Once there and even more alienated than before, seeing how he's a foreigner, he learns about an exciting but dangerous new style of the sport called drift racing. The stakes are high when Sean takes on the local champion, DK, the Drift King, and falls for the man's girlfriend. So, directed by Justin Lin, who would go on to direct most of the Fast and Furious films, unarguably some of the best ones of the series, which would be this one, 4, 5, 6, and 9. Yes, and 9. So, yeah, he would go on to direct most of the films in the Fast saga, and Tokyo Drift pretty much repeats itself here with its predecessors in a different form. Now, what we saw previously was the world of street racing being run by one guy and being admired by someone else. This was, of course, being run by Vin Diesel's Dominic Toretto and being admired by Paul Walker's Brian O'Connor. The story gets handled somewhat the same way, but it shows the audience how popular these things are when they are international. And it kind of foreshadows how this franchise will take it outside of LA, or at least America, in that sense, because y'all know the further we get into this franchise, it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and trying new things and go in different areas that most franchises of that type would never go. The scenarios are not set up the exact same way, but the protagonist of the story, Sean, has that desire to race. But his consequences cost him. You know, he's trying to prove himself in front of the whole school. Crashes his car. Now he has to get forced to move to Japan, has to keep relocating, and his actions and his desires of racing have constantly caused him to relocate and to keep on moving. But good thing that Japan is the place where his hobby is safe with the neighborhood, safe with the residents. He is not a cop who happens to get hooked to the adrenaline of the nitro boost, but a high school kid who just loves to race. His reckless actions lead him to go to Japan, and the best part about that is the audience gets introduced to drift racing. Now, I know what y'all are going to say in the comment section below, how Tokyo Drift is the most underrated. I haven't seen the other ones yet, like in the series, but this is the most underrated film in the franchise because it has some of the best driving sequences to start off with, because the last two, to be honest, the racing sequences in the last two movies didn't feel as interesting, mostly because there was no usage of drifts and turns. And whenever they do use the nitro boost, you know, it's not as realistic as what you would see in the more later movies. But aside from having improved racing sequences, the franchise is given a little more depth early on, with them showing us that these races even take place overseas, or, you know, places like Brazil and other countries, in London. Again, the characterization of this movie, and the other ones before it are similar. There is Sean, who, just like Brian, is that outsider who is hooked into the underground world of racing. And there is the top dog, like the one who keeps the energy of the gang revving. Paul Walker or Vin Diesel may not be in the movie that much, not like Vin Diesel how he is at the end, but the feeling of freedom and family still sticks when we are introduced to these new characters. Because even if this isn't Sean's home, you know, this is the family that he chose to have. He chose to be a part of the family of Japan, a place where he is comfortable and doing what he loves, and that is driving. But even more importantly, learning something new in the niche that he's already in, which is drifting. But even while he is overseas in Japan, he stays with his dad while hanging out around the drift racers, symbolizing that family can go wherever you go. The Yakuza, the Japanese mafia, give these characters a taste on what it's like to go up against somebody of that high class. Because, we haven't really gotten into espionage and terror and international terrorists and spies and assassins. We haven't really gotten there yet. But this is the closest thing we have gotten to a high-profile antagonist so far. First, we had a rival gang, then a drug lord cartel, which are pretty much the cliche type of antagonists in those type of action films. But the love interest of the protagonist, Neela, is reminiscent of Maya Toretto, who is Jordana Brewster, who is Paul Walker's girl later on in the movies, Dom's sister. Despite not having any connections with these people except through the Japanese mafia, but just how Sean and Neela become attracted to each other is kind of similar to how Brian and Mia become attracted to each other. Now, Bow Wow's character, Twinkie, is the closest thing to a comic relief in this franchise so far. We know that Roman and Tej have been seen as the comical duo of the clan, but right now, Twinkie is the only person to even come close to that. Tokyo Drift currently holds a Rotten Tomatoes score of 36%. Rotten. Critics don't like it. But like I said, it's underrated. Up to this point, the Fast Saga feels like it's starting to get comfortable with itself, with better characterization, greater racing stunts, and the start of showing the audience where these races will take these characters. So I will give it 7.2 SOs out of 10. I liked it a little better than the last two, because the last two I felt the same way about the last two. I gave those movies 6.9 SOs, but it's starting to get a little better. And this is where I'm guessing this is where Universal sees that opportunity, where Fast and the Furious will become this high profile, larger than life, larger than racing franchise, and become one of the most highest grossing action thriller sagas of all time. So that is my review on Tokyo Drift. Y'all can let me know what you guys think about this one in particular in the comments below. And I'll see you guys next time with my next video. Peace out.